Could the Miami Dolphins sign veteran wide receiver Keenan Allen? We've talked a lot about signing a corner or even another offensive lineman after the NFL draft and where things stand a couple weeks before training camp. But interesting idea here where the Dolphins could add one of the most polished veteran wide receivers in the league. And this all came from an ESPN article from a couple days ago that had one move that each team should make at this point in the offseason that can greatly improve their team and roster. And the idea for Miami on ESPN was to sign Keenan Allen, which caught me by surprise. Like, I expected to read the article and be like, oh, they're going to just say sign or trade Jalen Ramsey and sign a corner, right? No, they went with Allen. So let's talk about it. But first, make sure you follow me over on Twitter. One, because I'm 50 followers away from 2,000. That'd be a great milestone to hit. Help me out. It'd be awesome. Appreciate everyone who already does follow me. But if anything happens with the Miami Dolphins, well, we'll have you covered on Twitter before we make a video. So go give me a follow at Nic_Rohloff. Now, even though I do find the idea fascinating, I don't really see the need with the Dolphins going after Keenan Allen. You just think about what this Miami Dolphins roster has, and when you go through the team needs, don't see wide receiver popping up on that list anytime quickly. But let's hear what ESPN had to say. I'll hear him out. Aaron Schatz was the one who wrote this article. He said that Tyreek Hill and Jaylen Waddle give the Dolphins two excellent outside receivers, but there are questions about the slot. Right now, Miami's top slot options are the Washington, not brothers, two low-round draft picks from a year ago. In 2024, Malik Washington had just 26 catches for 223 yards with no touchdowns, while Tahj Washington missed his entire rookie season with an undisclosed injury. That makes Miami the perfect landing spot for a seasoned veteran slot receiver like Keenan Allen. Those two Washingtons that were mentioned, Malik Washington was a 6th-round pick out of Virginia in 2024, and then obviously Tahj Washington was a 7th-round pick out of USC, and he did miss the entire 2024 campaign after getting hurt in the preseason. But when I'm thinking about signing Keenan Allen, I feel like that would just be a misuse of cap, if we're going to be completely honest. Miami doesn't have the most cap. Like they will have breathing room. There's no doubt about that, and they already do have breathing room, but do they have enough to go out and get a wide receiver like Keenan Allen? I'm not sure that's the case. And the question is even if Allen is worth it at this point in his career. Well, Aaron Schatz, a little more on Allen here, saying that he is 33, but had 70 catches for 744 yards and 7 tuds in Chicago a season ago. He did poorly in ESPN's receiver tracking metrics last season, but still got open, as indicated by his 57 open score. Hill and Waddle would give Allen a ton of room to work with underneath, giving Tua a nice security blanket. And it does surprise me that Allen was able to be so productive last season in Chicago. I thought he was going to be a little bit on the downtick last year, and even though the Bears' offense wasn't that good in terms of throwing the football with rookie quarterback Caleb Williams, Keenan Allen still put up relatively good numbers. DJ Moore took a little bit of a dip, and you didn't really see Rome Odunze, their first-round pick, alongside Caleb Williams, do anything either. But Keenan Allen seemed to have the juice still, at least to some degree. So let me know before I give you my thoughts in full. Should Miami sign Keenan Allen? Type Y for yes, type N for no. It's the pinned comment on today's show. So if you're here with YouTube ad break, scroll down, let it play, and answer today's question. Mentioned Allen had a pretty solid 2024 season. He is, at this point in his career, a really physical possession wide receiver. And he's been that way the most of his career, but it's really just kind of to that degree at extreme level now, with his age continuing to rise and him being a little bit slower in terms of his speed. But he is still pretty good. And having him be in single coverage constantly over the middle of the football field, since Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle would generate most of the attention from opposing secondaries on the outside, could allow Miami to add another layer to their offense and Keenan Allen to have a pretty big season. But the question you would have to ask yourself, is it worth it for Miami? I don't know if it is. We talked briefly about Malik Washington and Tahj Washington. Well, you already saw the Miami Dolphins sign a wide receiver in free agency in Nick Westbrook-Ikini. And I am a big fan of NWI because he is that physical big-bodied wide receiver that Miami's been looking for, 6'2", 211. And you could put him on the boundary to be a good blocker and vertical threat and red zone guy to complement Hill and Waddle, who can move around in the Z, in the slot. But if you are going with the prototypical 3 wide receiver look and you have Hill and Waddle on the outside, well, then you're likely going to try to put Malik Washington in that slot. And I want to see Malik get a shot to be that full-time slot wide receiver in Miami. I have been very open about this since they made the selection in this 6th round of the draft in 2024. I like Malik Washington. I talked with Tom Downey. He had a top 100 grade on him. I thought at worst he was going to be a 4th-round pick. Miami got him in the 6th round. He's extremely shifty. He's fast. He can change directions at a very high rate. And he just has so much versatility on the offense for Miami. He can work in the slot. He can be a gadget guy, like on end rounds, and even get some carries potentially. He already is one of the lead kick returners and punt returners for the Fins as well. I think he is a legit breakout candidate. If you watched our breakout candidate video a couple days ago on the channel, which if you did not, that's why you subscribe, I think he could be in for a big role this year for Miami, and I want to see him have that. So if I am signing an offensive player, I'm not sure it's going to be a slot receiver because I trust the top 4 wide receivers Miami has. Hill, Waddle, Malik, and Nic Rohloff. That's a pretty good top 4 that is a top 10 wide receiver unit in the NFL. I mentioned it. We did a breakout candidate video a couple days ago. Make sure you're subscribed and turn on notifications so you don't miss when those videos go out on the channel. We put out daily content, and we'll have you up to date on any move that gets made. So subscribe and join us today. I talked about the cap space that Miami will have here earlier in the show, but I want to reflect on that because once Jalen Ramsey is traded, which is an inevitability, Miami will have about $23 million in cap space. They currently have 13.6. They will free up $9.9 million once they trade Ramsey. So my question would be then, yeah, 23 mil in cap space is pretty solid, but why would you use that on a wide receiver? And we do know that Miami likes to go into the NFL season with anywhere between $7 and $10 million in cap space in case they need to sign someone throughout the year due to injuries or make a trade at the deadline, which would be required to have some cap space. So I'm not sure they should take it back down to the minimum and kind of back to that 0 part by signing an older wide receiver with all the needs that Miami currently has on their roster. Would Keenan Allen really elevate this offense? Sure. It'd be another added weapon. But if you look at the biggest needs for Miami and rank them, wide receiver doesn't come even close to the top 5 in my opinion. I would rather sign 2 cornerbacks, 2, before I even get close to signing Keenan Allen. Because you'll need to sign a boundary guy to replace Jalen Ramsey. And if you don't feel good about Storm Duck or Cam Smith being that other boundary corner, well, then you should look to maybe sign a second corner. Like we've talked a lot about free agents we can go after. I think adding another safety is unlikely, but if you're talking about positions of need, I would put it up there because there isn't a solidified guy in that room. I like Melifonwu. I like Davis, a couple young guys in McMorris and Trader Jr. and Elijah Campbell, but you don't have any confirmed confidence in that room. You could still use some interior offensive lineman depth, even a backup offensive tackle if you don't believe in Larry Borum. And then with the Jonnu Smith situation still kind of hanging in the balance, you could use some more tight end depth because I'm not the biggest believer in Julian Hill or Pharaoh Brown at this point in the offseason. So if you're going after a free agent to go sign, I just wouldn't put Keenan Allen or a wide receiver even close to the guys I would be going after. But be the GM. Take Chris Grier's role for me. Name your top free agent target the Dolphins should sign. We've talked a lot about free agents in this offseason and past the draft over the past month or so, but let me know your guy. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Mine is Asante Samuel Jr., Rasul Douglas. And I don't want to continue to beat a dead horse. That's why we're not really going to talk about these two ad nauseum today. But it's clear that Miami needs to go with corner. And heck, I'd even sign both. We know Asante Samuel Jr. is going to sign sometime in July after he gets that checkup with his medical after his neck surgery in April. And Rasul Douglas has been in contact with Miami. They've offered him a deal. He rejected it. Wonder if Miami ups that offer or waits to see if Douglas will come back to them and sign. We did see one cornerback go off the free agent market this past week. Shaq Griffin signed with the Seattle Seahawks. So cornerback free agent targets winding down a little bit here. You still got these two, Mike Hilton, Stephon Gilmore. Maybe the Dolphins go out and trade a guy, but these are definitely my 2 top free agent targets. All right, I'll do it for this episode of Dolphins Today. Like I said, we're 50 followers away from 2K. Can we get there? It'd be greatly appreciated. Talking Miami Dolphins football every single day. So give me a follow, and if anything happens in the football world surrounding Miami, we'll have you covered.